Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to this week's game trailer critique stream. My name is Derek Lieu, and I make trailers for indie games. So each week we talk about a couple games, trailers that I enjoy, and explain why, and then we just watch a whole bunch of other trailers that are new, that either I want to talk about, or just some random things that I have my playlist that I need to get to. So yeah, and that's it. So this week, I have some Nintendo Switch ones queued up. But let's see. Let's get started with just a couple old favorites. And a few here, so let's watch this one, which you'll find out what it is. So if you haven't played this is Octodad, which is available on, I think, like every platform imaginable. And no, when this game came out? Oh, 2013 or so. Yeah, I love this trailer. This is an amazing trailer. Here, let's go through it. It's just, I mean, first of all, it just, you know, there's no other game like this, so it has that going for it already. They do have the logo at the front, but whatever. Just, I mean, just the image of it by itself is funny enough, but then having just the way that Octodad moves. And apparently, so the way I understand it is I think that this part here is a bug, where he just kind of collapsed in on himself. But it just has this great lead-in, because you're looking at this thing, you're like, what is going on? And the character is very appealing, and it just collapses because, I mean, it seems kind of appropriate because it's octopus, so how could it be standing up anyway? And then you have this whole this aftermath of this disaster. And so of course the question is like, how did this happen? So it kind of plants that question into your head. And then after that, then it's like, oh, of course, because this is a very clumsy octopus. And it just looks so goofy, and just like the dancing around. And so these title cards are great. You know, Loving Father, you know, this is just, you probably weren't expecting Loving Father. I mean, it's called Octodad. And just like the gameplay, it's almost inconsequential. Caring husband. And then this is just the punchline. It's like secret octopus. It's like, well, it's clearly an octopus. How could it possibly be secret? So it's just the humor and everything, and the whole song you have going. You know, the song is just pointing out the whole thing. It's like, who's that man with the 8 strong legs? A 3-piece suit. Just listen to the song. You know, only certain trailers can pull up a song like this, but just, all you need is nobody suspects a thing. They're just, everything is going for this trailer. And like I played Octodad, and it was fine. Like I think it loses its appeal after a little while, just because it's a little bit frustrating to play. But I mean, the first time I played it at PAX, it just could not stop laughing. So this is a very good trailer. I mean, it just helps that it's a completely unique premise. I don't think there'll be any more Octodad games unless they make a sequel. Yeah, so they just everything is going for this. The character design, the music, just the suspense of this shot. It's like, what? Oh my god! Like, cause this entire time, you're imagining what it could have looked like for all this destruction to happen, and then you just see it, and it's ridiculous. It's just like this octopus everywhere, and like they don't show that much gameplay. Just the song and everything is so good. You know, this sort of trailer, you're not thinking like, oh, how many levels? What's the campaign? Because you're like, oh, well, if I want to play as a secret octopus, this is the only possible way I can do it. And I mean, and if you just make people laugh, then you make people feel good, then they want to give you their money. Yeah, so that's Octodad. I love it. Okay, and this, whoops, spoilers. So this is a trailer by my friend Marlon. So I love this trailer so much. So there's a lot of stuff going here. I do have the logo in front, but it's quick. It's got these appealing sound effects. Like this counter is only at 1 second long, so it's, you know, if you're gonna have your logo at the front, just make it as short as possible. I mean, it's a second long. And so you got these award laurels, which got the cute little hearts, which is nice. I always like when things just are customized to the game. So that's a nice touch. Like, I never know when is the best time to put these in trailers. You put them at the beginning, you put them in the middle, you put them at the end. I still don't really have any definitive sort of answer. Yes, Radical Studio, there is a cat that has just eaten and wants attention. So yeah, we got these. And got just these nice graphics. You know, it looks very appealing. And so that's 5 seconds in. And then you have this here. This is basically framing the story of the game. First of all, it's just very appealing. You got these cute little animals over here, like the heart-shaped thing. It's very cute. And just everything's very bright and glowy. And so, oh my god, the thing blew up, and then you have this little bunny down here is totally panicking. So, oh my god, the thing broke up. And so you can see, just like, you know, you don't need any text to explain. This is all done visually. So, you know, something's gone wrong. And then this build-up music here is great, where it's like, all right, and they're literally suiting up. And they're getting ready, and this is just a really nice ramp up. You're like, okay, things are about to happen, and this is just very, very appealing animation. Oops, sorry about that. And then I like just how the music goes, like it rises up, and then it has this little kind of flourish here to give us like a small breath before the action really kicks in. So it's like, you know, oh no, like it's just, this beginning ramps up very well. You know? Oh, here we go, here we go. And then it transitions seamlessly into this. And then right as soon as, this is the first sort of real gameplay, and that's 1 second in, and you get it. You get it right away. This game communicates visually very well, so like there's some questions that might be in your head at this point. Are you thinking, you know, is it AI? Is it online? But they actually address those using quotes in the trailer. So first you already have this idea. Okay, you're a ship, you have all these stations, and then, so see here, they have this title card that says play with a friend or AI pet. So they address it right away, that you're playing with another human being or you're just using the computer. And then they show it, how it works. And of course, it's always good if you have cats. And then, you know, these gameplay clips, they don't overstay their welcome at all. They have an idea and then they move on. And just like a little ramp up here, or kind of like a suspenseful sort of thing with these big creatures coming in this direction. But it cuts out like right before anything really happens. And then they kind of do double duty here, where they have a quote, which is good for, you know, getting in like an authority figure or something like that to say that they liked something. But they also pulled the quote, which has the word couch co-op in it, so you know, oh, okay, local co-op. Instead of just having to say in a title card, couch co-op, they use the quote for that. You know, and then they just show more different game modes. You got these like missiles, and then there's some more quotes, and also just these graphics look really, really pretty, and they're big and bold and fun to look at. And they just, you know, there's a lot of different weapons. You know, they don't get too much into how the game is played. They just a little bit here and there. So you see there's these gems, and then there are these abilities here. Like the only part of this that I'm a little bit like, is these cut to black, which I don't know. I don't use them personally, so they always feel a little bit weird whenever it's just a full cut to black. But that's a little nitpick. And they just show like bigger and bigger monsters, and it's very exciting. And then it ends. You know, only a little bit longer than a minute. It gets in, it gets out. It's short and sweet. This is a really good trailer. Again, like the visual design and everything like that just makes it extremely appealing. And this reminds me that I used to have a t-shirt for this. I think I lost it or I left it somewhere. I should see if I can still get that. Yeah, so that's Love vs. in Dangerous Spacetime. And that's a favorite. Okay, so I asked on Twitter if anyone had any trailers that they wanted me to take a look at, and Kurt suggested the Mario Maker 2 trailer that just showed at the Nintendo Direct, which I only watched the one time, so, and I was a little occupied because I was kind of half watching while I was doing other things. So let's just let's take a look at it again, break it down. That's a really good trailer. You know what? Let's watch this again. And here, do this with me. Is tap your fingers or something like that to the beat when you watch this, because this is something I do with a lot of trailers, especially movie trailers, but I don't find myself doing it often with Nintendo trailers or even a lot of game trailers in general. But let's see, maybe after this intro here, because they're definitely cutting on the beat, and it makes it just. It's you know, it's something I say, just do it. It just makes it appealing to watch. Let's see here. Okay, so starting after this section, just you know, tap your fingers or something like that as you watch this. You know, it's not 100% on, but it's on just enough to just get that appeal out of it when you have certain things that just sync up to the beat. So, for example, like, I think one of these moments here, like that part there is definitely to the beat. But let's go through this whole thing. Let me see. So you start, I mean, okay, so this is probably the one time that I'm going to say don't worry about game UI, because you know, Mario Brothers is just so familiar to everyone that I think we're just used to ignoring the score and the coins, so it's not as distracting, and it's just it'd be kind of weird to not have it, but like I never ever thought to look at the score or the coins, kind of like when I'm playing Mario Brothers, because I'm just so used to do it. So I don't know, it just feels different this way. Let me see. So we have this whole thing, and so this is like a good way to think of the trailer structure, is that you have this beginning and it sort of sets up a problem basically, and then it goes about fixing it using Mario Maker. And I don't remember, did they have slopes in Mario Maker 1? Maybe they didn't. Maybe that's one reason they're showing it. And like this whole thing here, this is a really good ramp up. You know, you go from the Goombas to, oh my god, there's all these other things. So there's a really nice curve, like a progression here. Kazi TV asks, do you usually make the cut right on the beat or a few frames before? There's no hard and fast rule for when to cut on the beat. Sometimes you cut where the cut is, sometimes I want the beat to land on the action inside the cut. So that means it happens within the frame. Oh, Kurt says the slopes are a huge deal for the Mario Maker community. That's why they're front and center. Okay, so that's them understanding their community and knowing what they want. So smart. But yeah, the cutting on the beat, it depends. I think a lot of people, when they start out, they always have the cut on the beat. But I think as I did that more, I found it more interesting to have things within the shot be syncing to the beat instead. Because the other thing is, cutting on the beat can be very predictable if you're just doing that consistently, like always on the exact same beat. But if you cut to the actions, then I find it more interesting. Okay, so let's see. And so they're just showing a lot of variety of things, and I assume a lot of these things are just new things, because it's been a while since I played Mario Maker. But Okay, yeah. So these things is showing how to chart the path. Yeah, and like this part here is when I was first noticing that they were cutting with a beat, because there's sound effects and music here. Oh yeah, it's because it's part of the remix. That's why. It's not actually what was going on the screen. I got fooled a little bit. You know, and like this case, like the UI is obvious. It is the game, so you're not gonna hide all this stuff. In fact, this is kind of like a way to just have sort of Easter eggs in a way, because the Mario Maker community is just gonna be like going frame by frame, saying, "Oh, what's new in here? What's new here?" You know. So it does a good job just showing new stuff, and just moves very quickly. It's nicely cut. Music's great. You know, it's a very good trailer. Cool. That's Mario Maker 2. Let's watch the Link's Awakening one as well, because I am a Link's Awakening fan. Yeah, this is a good trailer. I mean, here's the thing. So, you know, this was on a Nintendo Direct, so obviously captive audience, and you know, it's beautiful animation. So, even if it's, you know, just watching on YouTube, who's gonna not watch this sort of thing? How long is this intro? It's like 30 seconds long, but you know, it's Legend of Zelda. People will watch anything. This doesn't, you know, if I'd say it's good to keep intros short in general, but if when you have all the fans, then you can do whatever you want, pretty much. But like, this is also good. This intro here, because people who play Link's Awakening, as soon as they see this, they're like, okay, Link's Awakening. They know right away. Radical Studio asking, was the inspiration by the Great Wave off Kanagawa in the opening? I don't know what you're talking about exactly. So, I mean, this is basically just a souped-up version of the intro to the game, which was for Game Boy, so it was pretty limited animation. You know, like this image of Link in the water is, I think, pretty sure that's in the game. Yeah, and then the gameplay, you know, they just, you know, it's nothing spectacular necessarily. It's just, you know, you're just getting people familiar, You just want to show the art style here. Oh, you mean the tsunami painting? Is that the one you're talking about? I don't think it's necessarily referencing that specifically. I mean, if you have anything that's Japanese with waves, how can you not have people thinking about it? But I don't think it's a direct reference, as far as I know. But who knows? But so this gameplay, like this just starts off in the intro area, and you show chomp chomps, and you're just looking at all this nice 3D art, and you're like, oh, what does it look like when the brushes get cut? Just they're playing the favorites basically. It's the old sort of classic kind of struggle of Zelda is, how much do you show something that's familiar? How do you show what's new? When you kind of people expect you to show what's familiar. So obviously people are like, oh, what's the spin attack look like? What do the rupees look like? What are the Octo Rocks? The Moblins and everything. This little bit here, I feel like I could have done without. It'd be fine, just show the owl, but it's fine. Just like the way everything's nice and shiny, it's just very appealing. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, even if it's exactly the same as the original. And then this is a nice little thing where you have her singing at the end, because in the original it's Game Boy, so it's all chiptune. So I'm sure that was something that I was thinking about, like, ooh, what's the singing gonna be like? Because the singing is a big part of the character. So it's nice that they have it during this thing at the end. Yeah, so it's a nice trailer. It's simple, and it's new Zelda anything, so it kind of doesn't matter, but it's a nice trailer. Yes, Judgmental J says, with a series this iconic, the rules of a trailer are so different. Exactly. It's like Star Wars or Star Trek, maybe. It's a little bit different because it's kind of more niche. But yes, like Star Wars trailers can do whatever the heck they want, and people don't really care. But if it's nice and it's good and it's well done, then bonus. All right, so that is Legend of Zelda. Let's move on to just a few random trailers that I have on my playlist, and we'll go from there. Another Switch game. Take a look. This is The King's Bird, which I think, yeah, it's out now, as it says. All right, let's talk about this. Music's very nice. The game looks very pretty. And one thing I noticed is that they have the Nintendo Switch thing up here, which I feel like they would have put it up here to cover their bases, because that's where Nintendo Japan requires you to have the Switch logo. So let's see. There's a lot of shots in here that are very long. Okay, so the main beef that I have with this is that you have all these quotes and award things on the bottom of the screen here, and then you have this here, so everything's fighting for attention. So you split your focus right away, which I mean, I'd probably just rather have no quotes or just have them really, really fast in between gameplay or something like that. But so that's the main issue that I have. The other one is, so it's not 100% clear for me how the game works. And so until I saw this, where it says momentum-based experience, that's the first thing that keyed me into what I should be looking for in terms of how the game plays. So look, I'll show you. There was a shot in here because like I don't know, because like the character's platforming, but the character's also sort of flying, so I don't quite understand exactly where the player agency fits in. And so one part where it did become kind of clear, and you have this little bit of story in here, and like this fade montage, these kind of throw me off a little bit. I feel like with a game like this where it's all about momentum and movement, so you have the character like moving all over the screen, you know, up here, whatever. That's like a good opportunity to have just like, you know, a trailer with good eye trace, where just kind of you just cut in between and the character just moving all over the place. Is at least what I would be thinking about. But the main problem is I don't, until there's a shot here somewhere. Hold on, it's coming up. Because a lot of this looks like you're just flying. And I don't know if it's like a gravity thing. Okay, so here, this shot here was the first time when I got a little bit of a glimpse of what you're doing, because you have this sort of bounce off here. The character goes here and then over here. And I kind of understood, okay, they fell down and then they bounced and they just kept on going. And I feel like I needed some more moments like that to help me understand that this is a momentum thing, because it just feels like flying most of the time. So I'm still not 100% sure about how the game plays, but it's very pretty, the music's nice. And then yeah, just splitting the focus between here and here. And it's a little bit weird also too, just a little nitpick, the end slate, is that it takes a really long time for the title card to come up. And you already have all these things. I prefer to have the title first and then fade in logos, because the title's the most important part. Yeah, so the problem is like, so Jace is saying that it feels like could have had 30 to 50% less gameplay. I think I think that if I understood more about how the game played, then I wouldn't have minded this amount, because then with a context of understanding how the game plays, then basically each little section would just be an example of, oh, you know, this is a part of the game where we're going to challenge your ability to play based on like the mechanics, you know, and then like this level's a different challenge, and then this level's a different challenge. And if I had that context of why a level is difficult to navigate, then it would be a little more engaging. Otherwise, if I don't know how it's being done, then it all basically means virtually nothing aside from looking pretty. So I think I need the context to actually enjoy and understand the gameplay. But because it's only a minute long. Yeah, that's my main problem with this. But the game looks very pretty. Something like this, I would maybe just check reviews first, since the trailer itself doesn't sell me. Okay, let's see what else we got. Ooh, actually, this is another big trailer that came out, which a game I'm excited for. That's weird. Huh. What, they have like 2 title cards. I've never seen that before. Okay. So yeah, this is a new Hollow Knight game. Let's go through this one. So my main thing is yeah, Radical is saying it's too long and it's not targeting new audiences. Looks like just for people who played the original. Yeah, so let's talk about this. So obviously the music, visuals, gameplay look amazing. It's Hollow Knight, and their world and everything is great. But you know what? I think that they could have cut out most of these title cards and made it shorter, because this trailer is basically trying to make the hard sell. And I think the point, the idea behind all these title cards, you have all these title cards about content, basically, like 150 new enemies, new bosses. They're kind of just saying, like, you know, this is a big new thing. It's not just a little thing. But I think that they could have just showed the stuff, and then we would get the whole point, because it would just keep on showing more new things, and we would understand. Jay says, I disagree with the language choice. 150 new enemies, new bosses suggests it's a major expansion rather than a sequel, which it is. Also a good point, because the other thing is that when you frame your trailer this way in terms of content, then that's how people are going to look at it. If you don't, then people will draw their own conclusions or look for more information. You have all these things. All these things are not things that would not be obvious from just showing it. So just imagine okay, so let's just go through it. So this intro, it's nice, got a little story, like it's very mysterious. This is a nice build-up. And again, of course, the music and the visuals look amazing. And then it's like, oh my god, it's I forget her name. You know, like this is a nice build-up to the like explosion here when you have the gameplay start. And yeah, they should have hid the HUD. It's distracting. You know, it's not Mario Brothers, so I think you should just hide it. And it's just, when you see this big thing here, it's like, this is something, most of these things are things that you can show and not tell. And when you have big text like this, you're just making it more difficult to look at what we actually want to see, which is just the gameplay. You know, because I mean, right away, if you're catering to old fans, they would already know right away this is a new level, this is a new environment. And new fans, or potential new fans, you know, you can just show it off. And you know, something that is new doesn't mean anything to them, because it's if they haven't played it before, then it's new by default. So and like this thing, like lethal acrobatic action. So lethal, this is with a subjective language again. Again, this is something that you can just see from watching the gameplay. It just, the way this sort of language works, it sounds salesy, you know. And this is a game that doesn't need to sell it to give the hard sell. It looks great. It has a really big fan base, so they're going past the sale basically. Like, all this stuff looks great. You know, 150 new enemies, like, that's a lot. But, you know, not that they should show 150 new enemies, but, I mean, as far as I can tell, every enemy in this trailer is new. So, you don't really need to call it out. No. And again, just hide the HUD. It's very distracting. New bosses. And like one little thing as a Hollow Knight fan, I was just waiting for the one time when she goes "Shoo!" because that's like a thing that she says a lot when she's fighting, but they didn't have it. So it's like, wait, I was waiting for it. Where's it? Where is it? I want to be able to be the person who makes that happen. And like they show a lot of bosses, and also the pacing of them is a little bit weird. Like there's one of the bosses here, which like these are all like really big characters. Then this one's smaller. It's kind of brings it down a little bit. And like, I mean, that's the biggest one. That's a good one to end on. And then new friends, but like, so like the pacing of the excitement is a little bit weird. So here in the beginning, okay, explore a new kingdom. That's pretty, you know, low intensity sort of thing. And then new enemies. That's more exciting. Then new bosses. That's really exciting. New friends, not as exciting. I mean, I'm interested, but in terms of what it's going to look like on screen, you're just going to be showing her talking to people, which is great, but like it just kind of ruins the momentum that you have with the bosses. Like it's basically going like here, and then this new friends thing I think kind of brings it down. Even though it looks great and everything, but especially because like even just literally the music, it comes down. And then new towns. And if they didn't have the audience already, then this would be a weird pacing sort of thing. You know, new quests and items, and they show a little bit of menus. Again, like these menu things, you don't need to show them necessarily. I mean, yeah, you can say, oh, there's items, but also the other thing to consider is this is an announcement trailer. And announcement trailers, I generally think you don't need to show as much. You can just wait, and then you just say, hey, it's in development, and they could have shown like a third of this, if not less. They could have showed just this opening here and say, hey, Hollow Knight things come out, and then everyone go, oh my god. Hollow Knight sequel, what's it gonna be? Because like, where do you go from here is the other thing, is that you've already shown so much. But, like all these things are cool, like this stuff, all this movement and stuff, this is all unique and interesting. And again, deadly new tools, another, it's subjective and it sounds like it's trying to be very cool. Like this is it's sort of like it's a little bit weird because it's sort of like playing to what people want, but also it just keeps on going. And I love it all, of course. You know, none of this is like unwelcome stuff to see, but in terms of the trailer, a lot of it feels it could have definitely been shorter, and like I feel like they could have had maybe this be the only title card, because if you imagine there are all these title cards here in the middle, and if it didn't have all this sort of language while you're watching it with no title cards where they're not spelling anything out, you're saying everything, is the entire time you're gonna be wondering, oh my god, how big is this game? I can't believe this. And then if you have this pop on at the end, then it'd be like, oh my god, they're calling it an entirely new game? Then, you know, that would work, I think. But everything it makes it very, I just think that when you have a lot of title cards like this, it makes it feel much more like a product. And that, I think that's not the best way to have people think about your game. But the game looks amazing. And Judgmental J says, another big no-no is that it wasn't available to wishlist on Steam when the trailer went live. Yeah, that's true. Because wishlists are a big thing, especially for Steam. But they're 3 people, and it sounds like I don't think that they have, like, I don't know precisely, but I get the sense that maybe they're not working with PR marketing people. I don't know. I just all assumption. Because I mean, yeah, I think someone would have said, "Hey, make sure it's going to be on Steam and wishlistable." But you know, game looks amazing. Music is amazing. All these things, they don't really matter that much because they have this big fan base and everything. It's just these are just things for trailer nerd like me, and people in chat and everything. So yeah, it's just the pacing. It could have been shorter. The pacing could have been better, and I think that just when you make it too hard to sell on your game, it does a disservice, and it kind of frames the narrative in a certain way that you might not necessarily want. But that said, again, it doesn't matter because I just really want to play the game, and that reminds me I have to finish the Hollow Knight DLC because I still have all that to go through. All right, 10:50. Let's do one more trailer for an old favorite, and then let's get out of here. Judgmental J says maybe they have an exclusivity with Epic Store. That's also a possibility. And as far as I know, Epic Store doesn't have wish lists yet because, I mean, they barely have enough games to wish list. That's also a good point. So, anyway, old favorite trailer of mine. I mean, I don't know how old it is, but... So that was Emily's Away 2, which is a sequel to there's a free game called Emily's Away, which it's all set in an AOL Instant Messenger window. And so I really like this trailer because it just uses and it obviously breaks the fourth wall, and it uses it to make this trailer. So let's get into it. So it gets to the gameplay right away, and it also is a trailer. And so this beginning part I like, but later on I have some little issues despite how much I like this trailer. But I just like how it's in the game and then uses this whole setup to show more, because like one of the questions will be for the old fans is, oh, how is this one gonna be different? So they use the things that are unique in the sequel to enhance the trailer. So one of the things in the sequel is that you have like YouTube. So it uses that to like start the music, show off more of the game, and and then So, I always talk a lot about how having text on screen, and this is another case where your familiarity with this view, at least people my age and people who used AOL Instant Messenger, it's easy for us to parse this whole screen very quickly because we're used to seeing it, especially like YouTube, where, we're not thinking, what's everything on a YouTube page, because we're used to looking at a YouTube page. So this stuff we know it's not super important. So we just end up focusing on the things that are moving, which is just the text on here and the text on here. The problem only comes when we get into the montage. But so let's get into that. Okay, so like this stuff is all great. Kind of showing you these things like, oh, profile images. This is kind of like simultaneously sort of like content, but also like an introduction, like setting up your to the whole idea of the game, just setting up your profile. Like I wish, even though these are very evocative of exactly what people put in AOL Instant Messenger profiles, some of me wishes that they were shorter, just so it'd be a little bit easier to parse, because it's always a little bit frustrating when you have a lot of text on screen and you can't read it. Or maybe if it went by a little bit faster, so then that that you're not supposed to be trying to read it. And then this part here is a little bit frustrating. This feels like a missed opportunity to actually show a little bit of the story, but because there's so much text here that there's no possibility for us to read it while it's playing. So it would have been cool if it were shorter and just could have added a little bit more story, but otherwise it's just kind of a little bit maybe not wasted space, but it just feels a little empty in that way, because basically the only thing that we see from this montage is, there's more conversations. So it would have been nice to be able to actually be able to read some of them, and by making them shorter. And actually, something I didn't realize till now is that they switch between conversations, which is a big mechanic of the new game. And that probably could have been called out more explicitly. Like, the dialogue could have been like, oh, hold on, I'm talking to someone else, or something like that. Maybe not that, because who does that when you're instant messaging multiple people? But, or like, oh, let me check with this person, and then they go to the other message. So it just shows how you're juggling conversations, because that's definitely a unique thing in the game. And then they're showing a little bit more, this nice little music flourish here. Then they show they got a Face Nook page, just showing more of the expansion of the kind of scope of the game. Got websites and all this. And like, oh, you get download files, and so like this thing here, again, if they cut out, all this text here, just make it a little bit more parsable. I mean, your eyes immediately focus here because it's the thing that's moving. So it's a small gripe. But yeah, it shows new gameplay features. Like, oh my god, you get chat transcripts. And see, like this thing here, this would have been cool if this was just the most prominent part. I mean, they zoom in, which is nice, but there's just still all this here. It's kind of messy. What's up, NK Woe? I'm just finishing up because this would be really cool to see. Like, this would have more impact if it just didn't have this noise here, which I don't know how you would do it. Like, it'd be a little bit weird if this was the only line, because would that be the first message that they send? But just something to simplify up here. would have made it easier to read. But it's a nice ending. So, like, again, these are all little polished sort of things. This is still a very good trailer, and I enjoyed the game quite a lot. Oh, and Kurt was suggesting maybe fading back the rest of the text. That would have been a good solution. So maybe you could have some sort of gradient, like even though AOL Instant Messenger doesn't work that way. So maybe like from, this part is the most highlighted text, and then as it goes off into the distance here, then it kind of fades away. That would be a good solution. Yeah, that's Emily's Away too. It's a good fourth wall breaking trailer. I'm not always fourth wall has its time and place, but I think this is a good place to have it. Yeah, and you know what? I think that's it. That was an hour. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this game trailer critique stream. I'll be back next Friday at 10 a.m. And if I'm not, then I will let you know on Twitter, so you can follow me on Twitter and subscribe and hit the bell and all that sort of thing. But yeah, hope this was interesting. Hope it was entertaining. And if you're watching after the stream, then I hope you come back for the next one. Yeah, everyone have a nice day.